Yun, doon
2019 ako
doon
nag-start.
nagkaroon ng sira-sira eh, ng relasyon namin dahil doon sa cellphone na yun. Buti nga, blessing na rin yun. Blessing na rin yun nawala yung cellphone niya.
Nung nawala, wala siyang extra cellphone na nagamit.
Wala siyang extra. Ang nangyari doon pre, gamit niya yung company laptop na Apple. Nakakonekta doon yung SIM card eh. Ay number eh. 'Di ba ganun yung mga cellphone ng Apple?
Mm.
Magkakakonekta. Wag ka. Kapag wala ng phone niya, putik, tumawag sa akin sa FB gamit yung MacBook, doon nagbukas sa ordinaryong bus. Tayo pinagmumura ako gamit yung MacBook. Kaya hindi ko na
Bakit
siya
kuminura, ganun agad po nga sa'yo?
oh, tawag ka naman sa pulis, tawag ka sa bangko. Sabi ko, linggo nga, Sabado ngayon, umuulan pa, ano na, 5, ano ba? 5:30 ba yun? 5:45. Wala nang ano ngayon. Hindi, meron nga, pero hindi ka kasi kasuhin, sabi ko.
O, ba't
Di
kasi
ba?
hindi mo
Tataw.
sinama?
Hindi, wala naman din talaga. Dahil bumabiyahe siya, wala na yan. Sabi ko, Lunes mo na yan, sabi ko. Delikado yun, umuwi ka na, umuulan.
Kaya,
Parang
kaya
kami,
nagalit siguro.
parang,
Kasi ikaw
nag,
ang inaasahan niya, ikaw yung may cellphone eh.
sabi ko hindi na po pwede yan, hindi na po pwede. Ganun. Gago ka, pinagmumura ako. Okay na yun, yung Sabado, pinagbigyan ko siya nun. Naglinggo na eh. Naglinggo na eh. Nag, Noong naglinggo na, pinagmumura pa rin ako. Na para bang galit pa
Ano
rin.
siya, at least sana tinry mo sana yun. Yun yung ano, baka
Sinamahan,
isip.
sinamahan ko naman siya. Sinamahan ko siya. Pero ayaw niya, ako na lang mag-isa. Ganun, ganyan.
Eh, kasi
Pumunta ng Tondo.
hindi na, nagalit na yun na ano na yun.
Pero ano yun,
Ng ano eh.
nung nahimasmasan siya,
Nag-isip mo siya ng negative eh.
pero nahimasmasan siya, nag-sorry siya. Ang dami niyang sinabi na
Kasi ano,
out na yun.
nabungadan mo naman ng negative kasi ikaw yung aasahan niya. Ikaw yung inaasahan.
Sabi ko, tingnan mo,
Kaya dapat
walang
mag-start
polis,
na rin.
sabi ko.
Teka lang, puntahan mo sa
Nagkasabay-sabay pangyayari nun, bumabagyo, Sabado ng hapon. 7 na nga siya nakauwi nun eh. Sabi ko, nag-aaway na tayo. Uwi ka muna sa inyo. Ipag ano mo na yan, dahil hindi mo na yan makukuha. Dahil hindi naman yan nalaglag yung cellphone mo. Talagang, ano yan, talagang kinuha yan. Hindi mo na yan makukuha. Ganun. Ayun, hindi niya hanggang ngayon, hindi niya nakuha. Ang dami niyang sinabi eh, na out of sa cellphone eh. Iba na eh. So, medyo, tapos hihiramin niya yung cellphone kung may babae daw ako. Sabi ko,
na ano yun na nalulocate kasi yun pa.
nalilocate na ano nga siya eh, nag-asset nga siya, kunwari ano siya, buyer siya. Parang naaninagan niya na daw yung cellphone niya, konting hakbang na lang oh. Andun na sa stante. Nagalit pa nga daw yung parang Muslim doon. Wala kayong search warrant, ganyan. Delikado yung pinuntahan niya, sila mag-isa. Ang dami niyang sinabi ding dapat hindi gano'n, nagpanic kasi siya eh. Nagpanic, nagrattle, naging ewan. Nagkalo-halo yung mga kung ano-ano.
Dapat ano, sabi mo, hintayin ka niya sa punasan siya. Nagawa na, nakapagtulungan niyo.
Mm.
Ang nangyari niyan, naintindihan mo ng bakit.
Pero ano yun, tsaka ano yun, tsaka kaya ko hindi ko na rin sinundo yun kasi kilala ko na yung babae na yun. Ano yun eh, may pagka-exage yun, tsaka OA eh. Hindi ko siya masyadong
Ang dating sa kanya ay wala kang ano,
wala akong,
parang
sabi nga niya, wala daw ako sense of urgency.
parang tunog na tunog ano ka nga,
Wala,
tunog wala kang urgent.
wala akong kwenta.
Oo.
Kaso, huwag mo sasabihin ng bobo tanga, mga kung ano-ano pang, marami siya, may mga mura na, may mga mura pa. Sumobra siya sa ano eh. Parang meron siyang tagong galit sa akin eh. In-all out na lang niya sa isang tira lang eh. Marami pa. Marami. Kaya ko yun hindi sinundo. Ayokong magpaka-OA. Iniisip ko, ligtas naman siya. Nakasakay naman siya, pauwi na siya. Yun ang inisip ko, di naman siya hinold up, di naman siya ano. Kasi ano eh, paano ba to? Paano ko ba explain to? Sa dami kong mga naging karelasyon, no, pre, marami na akong eksenang ganyan na ano eh, ang tawag dito, na experience, na gawa-gawang hold up, gawa-gawang na hospital, gawa-gawa. Dami ng ganyan eh, dami ko na ano yan. Pero mayroon silang objective para maging ganun. Kaya medyo ano ko, skeptic pa ako. Lalo pa ako naging skeptic na nagtataka ako. 'Di ba nawalan siya ng cellphone? Gusto niya nang hiramin yung cellphone ko na isa. Doon lalo ako nagtamang hinala na rin ako. Ha? Nakikinig ka ba?
Naging suspicious.
Oo, naging suspicious ako lalo. Sabi ko, nawalan ba talaga ng cellphone yun? Ba't ako nang nasa spotlight? Naging may babae daw ako. Ba't naging ganun? From magwo-worry na ako, pinalitan niya ng may babae ka ano, sabi ng mga trabaho, ganun daw yun, ganun. Sabi ko, ha? Mga client ko yun. Pang kliyente ko to, tong phone na to. Eh, ba't si ano, yung ex mo, pinapahira mo. Eh, wala nang gamit yun eh. Nag-a-apply pa ng trabaho yun eh. Binawi ko naman yung cellphone ko nung nagkakakalkal na siya ng mga ano ko, 'di ba? Mga gamit ko. Binawi ko rin naman. Compare ng mga girlfriend. Sabi ko, iba ikaw. Ikaw may means ka, may ano ka, meron kang tag dito, may trabaho ka, ginamit mo yung pinag-aralan mo, nagtrabaho ka, office ka, mataas ang tingin sa'yo. Ano ka, may pera ka. Itong mga naging girlfriend ko, sabi ko, wala to. Mga tinulungan ko lang to, mga kumbaga saan, taghirap tong mga to. Kaya ako nagkataon din may pera ako. Nung ngayon, medyo wala ako, ikaw meron. Pag meron naman ako, naanim naman kita. Pag meron ako, halos pamasahin, hindi sa gumagastos. Ako lahat eh. Hindi naman lagi na ano, na ganun. Nagre-regalo rin ako pag meron ako. Ang dami niyang ano, kaya yung tungkol sa snatch na yun, para bang yung, ay na-snatch. Siyempre, galing ako sa mga dating girlfriend ko, namimeki ng hold up, namimeki ng kunwari na confine. Maraming ganun pare. Medyo ano ako, teka lang ito na naman. Parang ano eh. Parang ko la. Parang ito na naman Parang gagawa ng eksena para makuha lang yung phone ko. Hindi niya makuha yung phone ko eh. Para bang gagawa ng ano. Ewan ko ba? Gagawa ng senaryo. Kaya hindi ako masyadong ano, jump in dun sa kwento.
Pero biglaan naman na
Bigla siya nag-chat na snatch cellphone ko. Ha? Hindi ako masyadong nasaan ka na? Ba't niya kapag-chat ka? Ganun. Sabi ko, mag-report ka na dyan. Ang ginawa niya.
wala namang naunang mga pahiwatig na gustong ano yung cellphone mo.
Meron. Na hanggang ngayon hindi niya inamin hanggang maghiwalay na kami. Nagsimba kami. Dito sa simbahan namin, nagsimba kami. May isang araw na nagsimba kami, may eco bag, no? Yung eco bag na itim, nakalagay ito. Tingnan mo. Nakalagay ito. Tong tubig na to. Wala siyang bag nun eh. Wala siyang bag nun araw na yun. Parang nadala niya lang sarili niya lang tsaka phone. So yung phone, which is pwede naman sa bulsa niya, di ba? Nung ako'y nagsi-cellphone na, tingnan mo ako. Yung nagsi-cellphone ako ng, nakikita mo ba ako? Yung nagsi-cellphone ako, ganyan-ganyan lang, swipe lang. Nandun ako sa harap ng simbahan eh, swipe lang, ganyan. Hindi pa siya masyadong lumalapit. Sa harap ito ng simbahan na bago mag-start ng misa. Nung gumanito na ako, dinalawa ko ng daliri. Bigla siyang lumitaw dito. O yung ano mo pala, yung tubig mo, kunin mo, nababasa sa cellphone ko. Sabi ko, bakit naman mababasa? Eh, kanina pa yung magkasama yung dalawa na yun. Nakatakip naman. Nakasarado naman yung aqua plus ko. Nung pauwi na kami, ihatid ko na siya. Ikaw naman, kung na kunwari ka lang na, tinignan mo na. Tapos tinignan niya talaga yung cellphone ko, nakita ko talaga. Tinignan niya kung sino yung kachat ko.
Ano nakita niya?
Wala mo siya nakita. Ano gagawa ko ng kasalanan sa simbahan pa mismo? Grabe naman. Tsaka wala naman talaga. May ganun siya. May mga bigla siya nagagalit. May pagka-OA kasi yun eh. Clingy, OA. Nadala niya sa trabaho yung ugali niya sa amin. Sa tunay na buhay, nadala niya. Mga OA, exaggerated, mga ano, ganun to, ganyan. Por pagka-OA yan, naging ganun yung ugali niya. Tapos, bago siya mais na siyan, naging palamura siya. Nandahil daw yun sa ML. Sabi ko, ako naman nag-mythic ako kung nag-ML ka. Ako naman, taas-taas ng rango ko sa ML. Hindi naman ako nakapag-mythic na rango nang nagmumura ako, naglalaro lang ako. Ba't ikaw ba't ka naman nagpapadala ng dahil katabi mo nagmumura ka na rin. Sabi ko, parang baka nagmumura ka talaga, tinatago mo lang. Hindi pwede sa ugali niya yun eh. Ang taas-taas ng pinag-aralan niya, taas ng pwesto niya, supervisor siya, tapos bibig niya ganun. Ang layo ng tsura niya, yung looks niya sa ugali niya. Kahit nung nag-ilog kami, nagmumura. Sabi ko, nangyari rito. 'Di ba pa mag-iilog, 'di ba? Basaan. Yung magti-trip, maliligo ko sa ilog, dagat, 'di ba? Babasaan. Hinata ko siya sa gitna. Puta, pinagmumura ako. Ba't gago to ah? Ang mura PI, hindi gago eh. PI. Sabi ko, overkill yung mura nito ah. Personal eh. Tsaka ano, hindi siya pasok sa timing. May mura na ano eh. Pasok eh. Ito hindi eh. Iba ang dati eh. Tsaka ano, compare niya yung tsaka nagko-compare siya ng mga boyfriend nito, boyfriend nitong ganyan. Compare siya sa huli eh. Ba't yung boyfriend nito? Konting minuto lang, nandun na yung boyfriend niya. Ganyan. Sabi ko, iba siya eh. Tsaka alam ko naman ligtas ka eh. Hindi ka naman sinaksak o hindi ka naman tinreten. Hindi ka naman ni-robbery. Or ano, wala naman nangyari sa'yo. Ligtas ka naman, ganun.
Delikado pa rin siya kasi nilabas niya yung laptop.
Delikado pa. Ang dami nga niyang katangahan nun. Ako pa sinabihan ng tanga. Sabi ko, ikaw ang tanga. Ikaw ang nakawala ng phone mo. Sinong tanga sa atin dalawa? Ikaw nakawala ng cellphone. Ako ang tanga. Parang ano na lang siya eh. Tititirang bahala. Ganun. Tsaka lagi niya binabanggit yung mga nakaraang mga tao. Bakit sila nililibre mo? Ako hindi. Ba't sila pinahiram mo ng cellphone? Ako hindi. Ba't pinahiram kita ng cellphone? Tas-tas ng pinag-aralan mo. Tas-tas ng posisyon mo. HR ka nga eh. Ikaw nga ang 'di ba? Ikaw ang pinakil ng ng trabaharuan eh. Ikaw ang lahat-lahat na eh. Tsaka tsaka sa labas, itong siguro mga early ng January, February. Ano siya? Kaya nga sabi ko, hindi man ako doktor, pero paano may may bipolar siya. Nagsiswitch yung gali niya eh. Pero hindi naman siya yung nananakit ng babato hindi naman siya ganun. Hindi naman siya poltergeist. Hindi naman siya ganun. Ano lang siya? Sa salita siya, magbabanggit siya ng mga senaryo na ang lakas ng boses niya sa bus. Mas malakas pa sa boses ko. Na yung senaryo na yun, talagang parang ikaw, pero parang papahiyain ka. Parang ganun. Parang skandalosa. Parang yung kwento niya lagi sa bus, parang ang dating, ako yung may kasalanan, may mga senaryo, ganun. Pero meron mga pamamimili. Mahal mo ba talaga ako dati? Ganyan, malakas yung boses eh. Nagandahan ka ba sa akin dati? Lalakas. Mahihiya ka sa tao, lakas yung boses niya. Pero no ex mo. Pero yung ex mo dati, ganyan. Ganyan kalakas, malakas. Maririnig yan, tinataon niya pag may maraming mga babae. Parang naghahanap siya ng conforme doon sa mga katabi. Tinatapik ko lang yun eh. Tinatapik-tapik ko. Mas mariosip ng tao na yun.
Depende sa ano yan eh. Depende kung anong HR siya.
HR supervisor nga
HR
ng
talaga na ano eh.
acquisition.
Talagang professional eh.
Hindi siya naging ano eh, hindi siya naging hindi siya naging manager, hindi siya HR manager. HR supervisor siya ng acquisition. Ewan ko lang kung alam ni Leslie yun. Acquisition, HR supervisor. Tinulungan ko pa siya sa ano niya. Dati nga rin meron din yan issue tungkol sa labahan eh. Kasi galing siya galing siya ng show. Dadali niya yung mga gamit niya pauwi. Eh nag-ML. Hindi ako sinali, which is mali ko naman. Hindi ko na siya sinundo. Dahil nakatulog ako eh. Alauna ako natulog ng hapon. Nagising ako alas 4 na. Nakipag-break. Eh di sumang-ayon naman ako. Pero in-explain ko yung sarili ko. Nakipagbalikan. Napagbalikan, ayan na naman. Tungkol dyan naman ng break. Dati naman, ang unang break naman, tungkol naman sa yung pera niya, hindi niya maipaliwanag kung saan nag-allocate yung mga unang months namin. Basta na, pagkasahod, wala nang pera eh. Hindi niya pinapaliwanag, pero later on, pinaliwanag niya. Yung pala napupunta sa mga utang ng nanay niya, then mga renta, tuition fee ng kapatid niya dahil graduating na pala, tapos yung ibang pinang Christmas bonus, pinang exam tawag dito, licensure exam sa nurse. Nakapagpatapos na siya ng isang nurse na kapatid niya eh, tapos nakapasa na eh. Naintindihan ko naman lahat yun. Sabi niya, mag-break na tayo, maghanap ka ng babaeng galante. Wow. Parang parang indigenous naman ako.
Nakapag-set ng standard na yun.
Nagsiset siya ng standard na, akala ko kasi pag lalaki nanlilibre eh. Ganun. Pero hindi sa lahat. Hindi sa lahat ng oras. May pagkakataon hindi ganun. Di mo ba bibigyan ng flowers? Eh, naghahanap siya ng parang Prince Charming na may quality ng romanticized na something na nagpauna na ako eh. Na hindi ako hindi ako ganun. Hindi ako romantic. Medyo medyo grumpy ako, medyo cranky ako. Ang core ng ugali ko masungit. Kailangan mo lang obedient ka lang. Dahil wala naman akong iutos na kakasama natin. Nagpauna na ako eh. Hindi ako romantic hindi ako toko. Kumbaga, kasi wala naman kasi dati, nung panahon natin eh. Sinabi ko na lang, ang akop language ko, pagkain. Nanlilibre ako, gusto ko rin ako ilibre. Nag-aano rin ako. Hindi ako bumibili ng mga flowers, hindi ako ganon, hindi ako romantic. Sinabi ko na eh. Pero hinahanap mo pa rin. Kumbaga sa kasal, nag-prenup na ako eh. Sinabi ko na eh. Ba't mo hinahanap? Ba't ka naghahanap? Sinabi ko na nga eh. Para wag ka na umasa na ganun. Aasa ka pa rin ng ganun. Hindi nga ganun eh. Inaano ko na nga eh. Pinauuna ko na. Pinauna ko ng ganun. Para hindi ka na ganun. Ay pag-break, di ko inano muna. Nakipagbalikan. Lagi kasi nun, pa-break, balikan. Ang gulo niya eh. Hindi ko siya masyadong ayun. Tapos, nung medyo isang araw na lang, ayaw niya na. Hindi, okay lang. Sabi ko, di single na ako. Pwede na makipag-date. Nag-yes naman siya. Siyempre, nagtanong na ako mamaya kasi may nakakaalam sa amin. Di may screenshot na ako, di ba? Dito sabi niya, pwede na ako makipag-date. Oo. Pero lang, parang deed of sale. Parang ganun. Meron na akong kontrata, tapos na. Ganun talaga eh. Hindi niya ako mamanipula, hindi niya ako makontrol. Una matanda ako ng 7 taon. Hindi niya ako makontrol, hindi niya manipula. Hindi niya ma-twist sa kanyang narrative yung kanyang mga gusto ng pangyayari. Ayun, ganun talaga. Tsaka napaka-ano niya sa ano, pare. Sa pera talaga. May problema siya sa paghawak ng pera. Sabi ko sa kanya, alam mo kaya ka ganyan? Hindi ka pa nakakahawak ng malaking pera eh. Masyado kang ganun sa pera, ganun no? Mahigpit. Hindi ka makakautang kahit 50. Pero pag siya, pautang ako 50, meron akong Shopee dito. Ako naman bigay. Tapos sisingilin mo, kunyari, umutang 18. So, sumweldo na siya, di ba? Ang sweldo niya 15. So, kung utangin niya ako, 20, for example, syempre hindi mo yun pwedeng singilin pre, di ba? Sisingilin mo yun sa 30 na. So, 30 na. Putik, pagtitripan ka, pero siya hindi mo siya mapagtitripan sa 50. 500, pagtitripan ka. Naglatag pa ng laundry. Kaya yung 500, naging 200 na lang, 300. Nailibre ko pa. Sabi ko, di okay lang yan, nailibre kita ng laundry. Binalan mo naman ako ng sabon eh, napag-shopping mo naman ako. Oo nga, tama yun. Ano siya nga, maganon siya. Last na utang ko, 480. Magbayad ka na ba bukas? Utek na yan. Taka mag-boyfriend, girlfriend pa lang, ganunan. Hindi ako modus.
Matatanda na kayo eh.
Wala na akong hindi ako member ng budol-budol gang, saka modus operandi, hindi ako ganun. Masama ang niya, isip niya sa akin eh, masama. Masama ang isip niya sa akin. Hindi niya alam. Minaano ko lang siya, minomonitor ko lang siya. Hindi na ako yung dati na yung ako yung nakikipag Hinihintay ko na lang sa ngayon, hinihintay ko na lang yung babaeng ayaw na niya, di wag. Hindi na ako yung okay makipag-break tapos ako naman parang gagong kikipagbalikan, parang tanga lang. Hindi siya na lang.
Kasi,
Ha?
bata pala eh.
Oo, kaya yung mga kausap niya puro bata. Gen Z. Gen
Marami namang walang fanboys. Ganun.
Tingnan natin, i-consider ko naman yan, yung mga payo na yan. Dahil okay naman yan. Wala naman ng swerte rito sa FB na to. Bawat kalkal mo rito, sexy yung profile picture. Pagtingin mo sa cover photo, putik, may anak eh.
Doon mo tayo
80% eh. Saklap eh. Kailangan talaga makita sa ano ba to? Kailangan makita talaga sa sa totoong buhay. Makasama mo.
Oo. Saka pa yung makikita mo pa kumilos. Doon talaga doon mo i-judge kung paano siya makipag-usap sa ibang tao. Ganyan. Paano niya ituring yung ibang tao. Kahit di mo kinakausap.
Ano pa lang kami. Hindi ko alam kung ilang buwan na ba kami nag-break. Hindi ko na alam eh.
Tagal na pala.
May ba? Isang buwan lang naman ata.
Nahalata akong dami mo mga post na may problema.
May yung kamakailan, 'di ba? Yung may post akong yung parang galit ako. Yun, yung nawalan ka ng paggalang sa tao, parang ganun. Nawalan ka ng paggalang ba? Parang ganun. Yung pagmamahal sa tao, wala ka ng galang, parang ganun eh, yung post ko. Nawala naman talaga. Ng hamak, mga ganyan. Kaya ka hindi na isnas yan dahil wala kang trabaho, hindi ka lumalabas. Ha? Yung ba yun? Yung ba yun?
Singit niya yung trabaho mo.
Naisingit mo pa yun. Nagpupunta nga ako ng Bagong Silang, katabi mo yung mga hold-upper sa mga Nova Bayan. Sa Kamuning ka na nga lang, na-hold up ka pa, na-snatchan ka pa, ilay-layo na napupuntahan ko. Kapag abroad ka na ba, Ano ka ba? Na-snatchan ka dahil may snatcher. Hindi dahil sa may trabaho ka at wala. O may trabaho ka, mas marami naman akong pera sa'yo. Yun na ba yun? Hindi naman yun ang ano nun eh. Yun ba ang excuse nun? Yung nga yung pangyayari na yan, tungkol sa cellphone na yan, ang dami niyang itinawid dyan na mga kinimkim niya mga issue. Sinegway niya lang yan eh. May kimkim siyang ano eh. Kinimkim niya yan lahat eh. Mga tungkol dyan sa ano na yan. O sige. Sige. Salamat. Throwback. Ako, inuubos ko yung Resident Evil eh. Bumabalik ako sa dating mga laro eh. Oo, inuubos ko. Para sa remake ng 5 tsaka doon sa RE9. Resident Evil 9. Sige. Salamat sa pakikinig.
Chat na lang, sa chat na lang.
Wala, ganun talaga. Nako po.
The Philippine National Police Commission says it has received some feelers from various sources on the case of the missing cockfight gamers or Sabuneros. NAPOCOM Vice Chairperson Rafael Vicente Caliniza notes the new information could significantly deepen the ongoing probe on the issue. The official also said the sources who reached out
Dati niyang boyfriend yun eh.
appear to have direct involvement in the case.
Nang dahil dyan,
Accounts, he said, could prove
wala na naman.
probe
Inang yan.
corroborate with earlier statements of whistleblower Julie Patitongan. Meanwhile, Malacanang wants authorities to conduct a more extensive probe in the case. This is after Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla said the people behind the case may be the same people behind the killings done during the bloody drug war of the Duterte administration.
Kung ganyan po ang nakikita sa mga investigasyon, mas lalo pa po dapat itong palawigin yung pag-iimbestiga ito. Dahil mukhang konektado ang mga nagawang krimen kung ito man po ay mapapatunayan. Hindi po natin sinasabi na sila na po ay guilty, pero mas gusto po ng Pangulo, iuutos po talaga niya na dapat mabigyan ng hustisya ang mga nabiktima.
Meantime, the Philippine Justice Department says it is not necessary to find the remains and proving murder has been committed to the missing Sabuneros. Justice spokesperson Nico Clavado notes conviction is still possible even without producing the bodies. It's important, however, to prove the facts of death in court.
Senator Ronald De La Rosa says he can reopen the Senate probe into the missing cockfighters or Sabuneros, but only if another senator files a resolution. De La Rosa, who led the inquiry in 2022, says the committee report was already submitted, but he admits powerful names may be behind the disappearances. The former Philippine National Police chief believes whistleblower Julie Patidoman is now key to filing new cases, possibly even against businessman Atong Ang.
Hindi ba siguro mag-isa pa rin yung ganun laking tatlo na mga tao kung walang basta likuran dyan na very influential. Diba? At nagbibigay ng to connect to the management ng yung Pitmaster.
The chairman of the state lottery operator denying any involvement in the case of the missing cockfighting enthusiasts. PCSO chairman and retired
Give
RTC
me-
judge Felix Reyes was accused by whistleblower Julie Patidongan of traveling abroad with prosecutors and other judges to allegedly fix cases for businessman Atong Ang. In a statement, Reyes tells Patidongan to shut up if he cannot name a single case related to Ang or the missing Sabongeros that he supposedly fixed. Reyes also says he's willing to authorize the Bureau of Immigration to release records of all his overseas trips since retiring from the judiciary in October 2021. The former judge further questions the timing of Patidongan's claims, noting they came just a day after he filed his application for the position of ombudsman. Reyes says he's willing to cooperate in any investigation to shed light on what he calls baseless allegations.
The camp of
Basta ka.
Alright team, we're transitioning to Flack, but tasks are still gonna be on hold. Did nobody see my Poppy Cup post? There was no clappy clap sign.
Make sure you track your time on Fireplace. Then, ping me on SmackDown.
Guys, we don't need
Pata pa nito.
ClickUp.
Where we chat?
ClickUp. Load up fancy projects. ClickUp. Docs. AI. It's all ClickUp.
Yeah, but how do we get Adam's dog to stop peeing in the office?
Not really sure about that one, but for everything else we have ClickUp.
Resident Evil 2 is out now, and in case you haven't heard, it's pretty damn good. As a remake of a survival horror classic that makes a litany of changes to bring it to modern audiences, it is a game that will compel millions to play it, and doubtless, millions probably will. Here, we're going to talk about 15 basic tips that you should keep in mind as you begin playing Resident Evil 2, which should make your nightmarish romp through the horrors of Raccoon City a little more manageable. There is no need to kill all zombies. As Resident Evil fans and survival horror fans in general know, ammo conservation in this game should be one of your top priorities. As such, fighting the urge to kill every last zombie you come across is very important in Resident Evil 2. While in some situations it's ideal to clear out rooms to make return treks through them easier, in many situations it's best to just find room to weave between oncoming zombies and make a run.
Ulit ko.
This also extends to the lickers. Do not engage them unless you have the firepower to do so. And even then, if you come up on more than one at the same time, just don't. Lickers are blind and they sense your presence by hearing, so just walk as slowly as possible and make your way past them. Make them buckle. If you find that there is no room to make a run for it, you still don't have to waste multiple precious bullets on killing zombies, which can often take as many as 3 to 4 headshots, and more than that on several occasions, to go down. What you want to do in such situations is aim for their knees. Shooting their limbs off will make them buckle and fall to the ground, which will give you ample time and room to run past them. Confirm your kill. If and when you do kill zombies, and in certain situations that will be unavoidable, don't trust the ones that go down and stay still. Often, even zombies you think are dead might shamble back to their feet again for surprise attacks, so confirm your kill. Slash at their heads with your knife, or if you're feeling wasteful and or want to be doubly sure, pop another bullet in their heads. Board up windows. Zombies in Resident Evil 2 can be quite persistent, as you may have probably guessed by now. Often, they'll break through windows to repopulate corridors you thought you had cleared away. To save yourself from the surprise of running into one of them in a room or corridor you thought was safe, make sure you pick up any wooden boards you can find in the environment, and then use them to build up broken windows to prevent further reinforcements of the undead variety. If you see Mr. X, just run. The one enemy type that you absolutely shouldn't engage under any circumstance, unless it's in a scripted sequence, of course, is the tyrant, Mr. X. In certain portions of both campaigns, Mr. X will stalk you throughout the building, constantly and incessantly. If you see him coming, or hear his footsteps getting closer, we'll get to this in just a bit. Just run. He's not invincible, and after taking certain damage, he does get
Baboy?
temporarily stunned, but that takes far too many bullets, and it's just a waste. Unlike in the original Resident Evil 2, temporarily downing Mr. X also doesn't yield any ammo or resource drops. So if you ever see him, the best course of action is to turn around and nope your way out of there. Always keep a knife, grenade, or flashbang on your person. Always, always, always have at least one of these 3 close-quarter weapons in your inventory. A knife, a grenade, a flashbang, any of them will work. Zombies can often come up on you and grab you, going in for a chomp to knock down your health, something that becomes even more of a possibility and even more of a danger when they swarm you in larger numbers. If you have one of these 3 weapons equipped, Claire or Leon, whoever you're playing as, will use them to get out of their grasp as a one-time get-out-of-jail-free card. Decide which weapons to carry with you. At the beginning of their campaigns, both Claire and Leon start out with a single handgun, but as the game progresses, depending on how much you've explored your environments, we'll get to this in a bit as well. Their arsenal will grow bigger.
Putang ina mo.
Don't always carry around each and every one of their weapons all the time. You'll be strapped for inventory space in Resident Evil 2, so pick any 2 weapons and keep them with you, and switch them out if need be. Leon's handgun and shotgun combo is pretty good in most situations, but you'll need to swap in the flamethrower in later sections, as is Claire's handgun and machine gun combo, though it's advisable to have her grenade launcher for tougher encounters or boss fights. Find weapons upgrades. Following on from our previous one, you're going to want to find all the weapon mods and upgrades you can, especially for weapons like Leon's handgun and Claire's grenade launcher. These mods come in very handy, and for other weapons, increased clip sizes or faster reload speeds can be very useful in a pinch. Do note though, that some of these mods will make your weapons bigger, and you will need more inventory space as a result. Find hip pouches. A good way of counteracting that is by increasing your inventory space. That's actually something you should just do either way. It should be one of your top priorities. Look for hip pouches by solving puzzles that might seem ancillary, or exploring thoroughly to make sure you have the maximum inventory space possible.
Ayoko nga. Kanina ka bang ayoko.
Explore thoroughly. Weapon mods
nilalog na naman siya.
Functions are, of course, things that you will find on the story. It's worth noting that several of these are all too easy to miss and don't necessarily fall in the critical path. Additionally, happening upon resources like herbs and gunpowder, or ammunition, or even wooden boards can be a huge advantage in most situations. Of course, there are also some sections where you'll have to explore to advance the story, but it's recommended that you do so either way. The map is your best friend. Like most classic Resident Evil titles, the locations you visit and explore in Resident Evil 2 are places you'll become very familiar and intimate with the more time you spend with the game. But the map is a tool that will never stop being useful. Often, it's a great idea to pause and use your map to figure out which route to take to get from point A to point B.
Tang inang eh.
Dangers along the way.
Parang gago.
The map in Resident Evil 2 also makes several quality of life improvements over the original. For instance, rooms that still have things left for you to discover will be highlighted red, while spots such as unopened doors, lockers, and safes will also be marked. Additionally, if you ever come across items that you cannot pick up due to limited inventory space, you don't need to worry about forgetting where they were. The game will automatically mark these items on your map. Examine objects. Often, Resident Evil 2 will hand you objects that it'll describe as key objects.
Gago na to.
Try using them to open up areas, they won't work. Or maybe you just won't understand what to do.
Nangyari.
As such, it's a good idea to always go into your inventory and manually examine each item you find, and then turn around to see if you get prompts to fiddle around with any of them. These might be switches to turn off portable safes, buttons to release a key item from its useless frame, or any number of similar things. Don't ignore crafting. Crafting is an important mechanic in Resident Evil 2 that you absolutely shouldn't ignore. You'll find various kinds of gunpowders and herbs in the game, and mixing and matching them in different combinations will yield different kinds of ammo and medicines. Use these. Not only do you not have to rely on resource or ammo drops that the game hands you itself, you can also craft things you need in situations to fit your particular needs. But then again, be smart about it. Don't go crafting an unnecessary amount of handgun ammo when you know you have enough, and should probably be investing in shotgun rounds instead. Use the amazing audio design to your advantage. Resident Evil 2's binaural audio design is one of its biggest strengths, but while it adds immensely to the scares in the atmosphere, it's also something you can and should use to your advantage. You can often hear the moans and growls of zombies in the distance, while lickers also often make their presence known before you see them. And of course, there's Mr. X, whose thumping footsteps are something you'll hear getting closer and closer to warn you of his arrival beforehand. Use these cues to your advantage, regardless of whether you want to lock and load and prep for a fight, want to take a different route, or want to turn around and run. Don't miss the second run. This should be obvious, but sadly it isn't, and apparently is missable. Just like in the original Resident Evil 2, once you finish the A campaign with either Claire or Leon, the B campaign of the second character is unlocked. This is the second run. It's different from the A campaign of both characters. It tells the story from the perspective of the other character, and basically serves as the second half. Do not miss this or skip out on it. Though the credits roll at the end of the first run, that is merely half the game. The story and the game are both incomplete at that point, and some of the best stuff is kept in store for the B campaign.
And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos. Whether you're a fan of the original Resident Evil 2 or part of the newer generation of gamers playing it for the first time, we can all agree that Resident Evil 2 Remake is an amazing game. Since we're gearing up for the release of Resident Evil 3 Remake, I thought this would be a great time to
graffiti with the letters TP. This one might be a stretch, but there's speculation that this graffiti at the beginning may be a reference to PT. Another character reference can be found across the street from Kendo's gun shop, Mikhail's Pierogies, referencing our man Mikhail, who is in Resident Evil 3. The tiny mannequin on the desk where you get the spade key.
Something can be.
The mannequins in Resident Evil 7. You can also find them in the storage room on the 3rd floor when playing as Claire. Early in the game is a poster that references Dead Rising, sort of. Not sure why they didn't have it, but you can see a poster that has the name Frank
Kasi sa mundo ng fast food boy, they know I own this fucking game. Baka nakakalimutan ako si McDo. I've got MC on my name. Yeah. Kaya fuck you ka at lame, pati yung karton mo na baso. Yung lyrics mo ay susuka ko lang parang spaghetti na kinain ni Benny Blanco. Kaya sige, panalo ka na sa yung chicken and juicy at may crunch. Pero nakakatawa na ikaw yung bubuyog na may puta sa mga sanga. Pero ako tumbas maraming crunch. Kasi para lang tong public school versus Harvard. Bagong dilega sa Haggard. At ito ang pinagkaiba ng cultural authenticity sa international standard. Kasi dyan sa inyo, kung hindi malata ang rice, walang lasa ang rice. Yung mga cashier nyo hindi nice, yung cook nyo pa puro ice. Kaya makinig ka sa aking advice and stop people telling lies na hanggat si McDo ang president, mananatili ka lang na vice. Isang minuto para sa Jollibee! Yo! 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 Kasi sa mundo ng fast
Ano na si Jollibee?
na hanggat si McDo ang president.
On Leon's Jeep is the word Matilda, which refers to
Si Jollibee.
handgun named as a reference to the movie Leon the Professional.
Tayong magagawa ba? Ayun lang. Alam mo ba?
Next to the entrance is a big ice cream container with herb ice cream that has the slogan, "It will heal you." It even includes the yellow herbs from Resident Evil 4. And lastly, if you wait a bit after exiting the back room, the sheriff will turn into a zombie and prevent you from going back in.
Number 8.
Ang gag.
Out of bounds. One of the only real glitches in the game gives you the ability to completely walk through walls, leave the map areas, and skip large portions of the game, though this can cause problems if not done carefully. This has been patched, but it's still possible to do in certain areas. To do this trick, get a zombie to crawl and grab your leg from behind while at the very first step of a staircase. The easiest place to do this is on the stairs of the library. If precise enough, the character will now be walking on air. Next, walk over to where you would normally fall through the second floor, and you will go lower than intended, which allows you to leave the map. It's worth noting that you can also do this in the sewers and a couple other places in the game.
Number 7.
Second orphanage. Speaking of out of bounds, there is actually a bit of a secret area in the game. Near the orphanage is a second orphanage that is unfinished. It was most likely a beta version of the level that accidentally got left in the game's data. There really isn't too much to see, but it is there, and it definitely has a different feel to the original and even has some textures. Based on the concept art, I'm guessing this room might have been a nursery, but I guess only the devs can confirm that.
Number 6.
Adaptive difficulty. Ever since Resident Evil 4, Capcom has used a secret sauce in their game design formula, and that is adaptive difficulty. So for those of you who don't know what that means, basically, the better you perform in the game, the harder it gets, and vice versa. Now the specifics of how it works exactly have always been a bit of an enigma in every game it's part of, but for Resident Evil 2, this is basically how it works. There are a few variables, but they typically revolve around how many times you are bitten and die, as well as how much ammo and healing items you have on you. Every time you take damage, the game gets a little bit easier in a lot of little ways. And if you're doing really well and not taking any damage, the game will get more and more difficult to keep you on your toes. As the difficulty changes, the amount of damage that enemies cause changes, the amount of bullets from mixing powders changes, and the game spawns more or less enemies, and the amount of health that enemies have will change as well. And for those wondering, adaptive difficulty is disabled on hardcore mode. It is automatically set to max for the whole run.
Number 5.
Tofu. I still see people getting surprised by this, so I thought it was worth mentioning. After you beat the game, you unlock the extra mode called the Fourth Survivor, where you get to play as Hunk. Beating this unlocks the Tofu Survivor mode, which is identical except that you play as a block of tofu equipped with only a knife. However, if you can beat this very difficult mode, you can unlock 2 extra tofu-type characters, each with their own arsenal and gameplay style. First is Konyak. Konyak's arsenal is fire-themed, consisting of a flamethrower with plenty of ammo, and a grenade launcher with flame rounds. In Japanese cuisine, konyak is a thick gelatinous block made from lime water and konyak flour, which is made from the large purple flower of the same name. I've had it, and honestly, it doesn't really taste like anything. Maybe a tiny bit salty or fishy. The next unlocked character is Obito Mochi, whose arsenal consists of 36 hand grenades. Obito Mochi is just flavored mochi, which is a very stringy, chewy cake made from rice flour. It can be flavored with sakura blossoms, and either of these two you will unlock the last 2 tofu types. First, we have Flan, whose extremely powerful arsenal consists of a minigun, spark shot, flash grenades, and a rocket launcher, and is by far the easiest character to beat this mode as. Now, you probably know what Flan is, but I should mention that Flan is called pudding in Japan. And last is Anin Tofu, who is equipped with a quick draw army pistol and an M19, as well as tons of handgun ammo. Anin Tofu, or almond tofu, is a soft gelatinous dessert made from apricot kernel milk, agar, and sugar, and is one of my personal all-time favorite desserts. If you ever get a chance to try it, I highly recommend it.
Number 4.
Mr. X. One of the key enemies in the game needs no introduction and has caused more jump scares than anything else in the game. And there's good reason for this. Since the Mr. X of PS1 days, technology has come a long way, and Mr. X's ability to find the player was a standout feature. But you might be wondering exactly how his AI works. Well, for the most part, it works the same way you do. He has a sense of sight, sound, and touch, as well as the capability to search a room before moving to the next one. While this is terrifying, it can also work to your advantage if you know what you're doing. If positioned correctly, you can hide from him, and if you're stealthy enough, you can even follow him. By staying out of his field of vision and walking slowly, as long as he doesn't look in your direction, he won't sense you. But this comes with a cost, which is that the longer he goes without spotting you, the more sensitive and aggressive he gets. It sounds like running and kicking over doors can attract him, but the fastest way that he will find you is if you fire your gun, minus the machine gun if it's equipped with a silencer. So, if you want to avoid him, sometimes hiding in the corner might be your best option.
Number 3.
Audio. One of the most overlooked aspects in the Resident Evil 2 remake is the sound design. The original Resident Evil 2 was actually ahead of its time in the sound department, and the remake holds up that tradition. If you have never played the remake with a good pair of headphones, you are really missing out on some fantastic sound design. There are actually 3 simultaneous sound systems working together to create the overall experience. Utilizing a revolutionary new real-time binaural system, which is the first stereophonic sound system of its kind, the player is able to have sounds that can simultaneously sound close by and far away for each ear. The second system, dubbed the Impulse Response Creation, is a reverb system which modulates each sound you hear depending on the size and texture of whatever room
kayong itanong, i-comment lamang sa ibaba at susubukan natin.
Does body language prove Chris Watts murdered his 2 young daughters? Even more stunning evidence in this part 2. That's next. Welcome back to the channel. Derek Van Shake here. Chris Watts is the Colorado man accused of murdering his pregnant wife and 2 young daughters on August 13th, 2018. When this interview was recorded, Chris claimed his family was just missing, and at this time, it was merely a missing persons case. The next day, Chris admitted to killing his wife when he claimed he caught his wife murdering his 2 young daughters. His wife's body was found in a shallow grave in an eastern Colorado oil field where Chris worked, and his 2 young daughters were found dumped in an oil tank. I live in South Denver, so this literally hits close to home. From his own admission, we know he killed his pregnant wife, but did he also murder his 2 young daughters? We're gonna analyze his body language during this local NBC interview to find out what he's subconsciously telling us.
Wherever they're at, like, I have no inclination of where they're at right now. Like, I've exhausted like every friend that I know of, and every friend that I have has called friends that Shanann has that maybe I didn't know about, and it's just like it's vanished. Like, she's not, like, when I got home yesterday, it was like a ghost town. Like, she wasn't here. Kids weren't here.
And pause. I'm sure all the parents can attest that not knowing where your young children are is one of the scariest feelings on earth. So why is he smiling when he's talking about not finding them? Also, at this point, remember, he knows his children are dead, and he knows their bodies are decaying in an oil tank.
I have no idea like where they went, and it's just earth-shattering. I don't feel like this is even real right now. It's like a nightmare that I just can't wake up from.
Is Chris Watts good at lying? In some ways. He does make good eye contact, which is very difficult to do, especially when fabricating a whole story that must integrate perfectly within the truth. He doesn't do much nervous fidgeting, but he smirks a lot and doesn't show any emotion. In a situation like this, where he definitely shouldn't be smirking or smiling, it's a huge red flag. In my last video, a viewer pointed out what's called Duper's Delight, and that's exactly what this is. It's the I know something you don't know smile.
Chris, when did you learn that they're no more here?
I guess, well, I had texted her a few times, called her, I didn't get a response, which that was a little off. And then her friend Nicole showed up about a little afternoon. I could see it on the doorbell camera, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" She's like, "I can't get a hold of Shanann." And that's when I was just like, "All right, something's not right. If she's not answering the door," she said Carl was here. It's like, I gotta go home. And we got here, got inside, and nobody was here. Nothing.
Another smile. How could he smile when it should be a father's worst nightmare come true? What is there to smile about? Well, he's satisfied that his wife and children are gone forever and seems to be proud of what he thinks is a flawless cover-up.
And so I read that Shanann hadn't taken you to school for some reason.
If anyone murdered 2 of your closest loved ones right in front of you 2 days ago, I don't think anyone would be able to not be visibly emotional at this point. However, he's still showing a satisfied look on his face.
Yeah, because like Bella was gonna start kindergarten.
Yep, he actually said was.
Next Monday, and they were just getting ready to start back again.
And so what kind of...
Sucking in his lips, which could be a sign of lying, but since he was also smirking a lot, it could actually be a way for him to hold back a visible smile. Try it yourself by sucking in your lips and attempting to smile.
So your friend Nicole, that picked you up and said,
Yeah, because like she was here at the front door, and that's when I kind of knew, okay, like if she's not answering anybody else either, this isn't like her. Because I mean, she works at direct sales business, and that's what she does. And for her not to respond to any of her people, I mean, if she doesn't respond to me, that's fine. I'm like, she's busy, she's got stuff going on, but not to respond to her people though, that was not like her.
Chris, you've got a beautiful family.
More sucking in his lips, which means he's either lying, omitting something, or trying not to smile. Possibly all three.
You know, and it looks like you all love each other very much. What went through your mind the minute kind of you're like something's wrong?
Like I was trying to get home as fast as I can. I was blowing through stoplights. I was blowing through everything, just trying to get home as fast as I can.
He shakes his head when he should be nodding his head to be congruent with what he's saying. He's lying. And he's smiling when talking about what should have been the most scary moment in the parent's life.
None of this made sense. Like, if she wasn't here, like, where did she go?
More smiling as opposed to coming across as concerned.
Like, once I got here, it was like, all right, who can I call? Who do I know that she could be with right now? If she went to a friend's house, where could she be staying? And we went through everybody. I mean, just everything in my contact list and her friend's contact list, and nothing has come up. Everybody has said like they haven't heard from her either. I'm just hoping right now that she's somewhere safe, and maybe she's there. But right now it's just like, if she's vanished, like I want her back so bad. I want those kids back so bad.
He doesn't want them back. He's shaking his head no when he's saying it. His smiling in this interview is so over the top, it's sickening. Remember, he knows all his children are dead, and according to him, his wife was the one who murdered them. If that was the case, why is he smiling? It's not even like he could claim it was an act he had to keep up while on camera to sound believable. Because anyone in the world would expect a father who can't find his young children to come across as sad and scared. Not smiling and not acting jovial, unless that father was happy they're gone.
You know, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the hard part. Your first thought is, where are they? I want them back. Your second thought is, you know, your friends are telling you that, so you kind of heard you a little tone. You're also, your second thought is that you're afraid people think you may have done something.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody's gonna have their own opinion on anything like this. I just want people to know that I want my family back. Like, I want them safe, and I want them here. Like, this house is not the same. I mean, last night was traumatic.
Incongruency, he's lying. If last night was so traumatic, why is he smiling? Last night wasn't traumatic for him. It was what he wanted, a fresh start without a wife and kids.
Last night was, I can't really stay in this house again, like, with nobody here.
More smiling, no emotion, he's not being truthful.
And last night I wanted that knock on the door. I wanted to see this kid just run in, just barrel rush me, just give me a hug and knock me on the ground. But